Welcome to Image Bearers. My name is Otoma Edje. I'm very excited to have on Image Bearers Lamont Nash. I've known Lamont for over 20 years. Just such an inspirational guy. He lived here in Detroit for a number of years and moved to California. He's right now working in what's called Playground Training Academy. He's a co-owner of a gym there, and that's in Fresno, California. Lamont was a former gang leader, and right now he is a certified life coach. Anywhere Lamont seems to go, he's always leading. So in his former life, he was leading in a bad way, as I said, in the gang side. Now he's leading in a great way with the kids and adults with the gym that he co-leads. So Lamont, again, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you, Tommy, man. It's been a long time, man. We've been on a lot of journeys together, bro.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Driving across to Chicago, going to Ohio, just everywhere. It's been awesome.
Everywhere.
So tell us a little bit about yourself as we start out here.
So like Thomas said, I was a former gang leader, but even before that, guys, I grew up in the foster care system. Father, tried to kill me when I was about 5 years old. Just kind of bounced around to different group homes, foster homes, phased out of the system. And, as I was just going through life and life was getting really hard for me, then I come at my darkest moments and here I meet this guy, Otoma. At all places, I meet him at a Wendy's. And this man right here, man, helped me change my life around. And I'm just really like going through this story like very vaguely because, it's a lot to it. I always tell most people if they want to know a little bit more about my story, they can look on YouTube and just type in my name, Lamont Nash, and a couple of my stories will come up so they can get a bigger gist. But for time's sake, and not to just drag on, I'm just going to tell you guys a brief story about I've always had to be an overcomer, like all my life. And I didn't even know I was a leader. I actually thought I was not, even though I led a gang that was like a lot of people. I still didn't think that I was just trying to start up a family because I didn't have one. And, I didn't know that that correlated with leadership. And so, because I always got told that one, I was never going to amount to be anything. But then, I ended up meeting with Otoma. There was a lot of craziness in that meeting. I ended up living in a garage. When he met me, I was living in the garage, and because the guy in the house didn't want me staying in the house, and then long story short, me and that guy got into it. Otoma pulled me out of that situation, put me in with a church brother. And then from then on, my life started changing. It was not easy. There's some rocky roads there, but I ended up going to Bally's of all places, Bally Total Fitness.
Yep.
And then from there, I was like retail manager there selling retail products. And then I just got into personal training and modeling. So I was doing personal training and modeling back and forth. And it's crazy because I'm like, dude, I really like this. Like, I never thought I was going to be good at anything. But the reason what I liked about personal training is because it allowed me to use my creativity. So the trainer that was training me, he would show me something. I would come back and show him something. But the same move that he just showed me, but with like a couple of extra added ons. And he's like, bro, have you ever thought about being a personal trainer? I was like, I never really thought about it. He says, man, you already selling nutrition, so you already know about nutrition. Dude, you should like, and then when he mentioned tests, though, I was like, hold on a minute, dude. I wasn't good in school. Like, ADD, ADHD all over the place. And he was like, dude, I'll help you study. And I was like, okay. And from then on, long story short, man, I went to a modeling gig. And Tomo was explaining that a little bit. That we went to Chicago, and I got turned down, and I got hurt. I'm just gonna keep it real. I got turned down by these agencies, and I felt most people around me felt that I should have got that. I got turned down, was crushed, but yet in that moment, the owner of that that competition had me come up and speak. to the audience, the kids and the adults that were there, and give the motivational speaking. And just to move you guys a little forward, like, not only would I be in my room practicing my model walk by myself, like just perfecting this walk so that I can kill it on stage, I would also be walking on that stage, seeing myself talking to thousands of people. And even to this day now, I still do that. I know it's kind of nerdy, but I still see myself talking to thousands of people because I believe that God gives us all stories. And now you guys will learn a little bit about my story. And my story is to, if it resonates with people and to help people, I did not know that my path was going to be helping people. Because how ironically, I was trying to get out of this world. God kept me in this world. And then now I've been in this world. And ever since I've had my gym open, my main gym, the reason why I call it Playground Training Academy is because when I was younger, I was always playing on the monkey bars, pull-up bars, always doing this stuff. Everybody in my neighborhood knows me for that. They know me for that dude, building tree houses, climbing trees, jumping off everything, swinging off everything, always out there working out. Because my idol was like Bruce Lee. So I'm like, this dude doing push-ups, I'm about to do push-ups. This dude doing pull-ups, I'm about to do pull-ups. And then I was practicing martial arts too. So because my pal was trying to follow him, but then yet I was kind of, I'm gonna call it like it is. I was nerdy, so I would be like chemistry sets, rockets. So they did go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things you mentioned obviously was the gym that you co-founded. Can you share a little bit about how that started and I guess even why you started and how it's going?
So how I started that was actually I came down here to California and I had no friends, no family. I started working at this place called Break the Barriers, and they deal with it was a gymnastic gym, and they deal with disabled and non-disabled kids. And I ended up creating a position for myself there during boot camps, and like I created a program called the Refit, where I was working kids out on the Wii, and then we got a grant for that program, so we was doing that. Well, as my time I wanted to do more. So I started up a competition called Central Valley Greatest Loser. And it was called Central Valley Greatest Loser.
Gotcha.
And it was based off that show, The Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
So I ended up starting up one in my town, and I ended up getting some other trainers with me, and we started dropping people like a lot of weight. The runner each year lost like 60 pounds. So then I got myself known out here for a trainer, right? So then I still needed a place to train because the place where I was working at, they were taking like half my money and I couldn't afford to keep training there. So I was going to church and my church I said, hey, could I use you guys' ground to like do some stuff? And they said, sure. And I was telling about my competition. He says, hey, let's come around here and check out the youth room. The youth room was small, but I was like, I'm used to living in the garage, bro. So I'm used to working with anything. So I was like, okay, cool. I have no weights. So I started just my boot camps up at this church, just training people. I started with 5 people in each boot camp. After that, I grew to 10 people. After that, I grew to 15 people in each. Before I actually left that spot, and I was there for 2 years, I grew to 100 clients, right? And so I needed a building now because the room was getting cramped. So when it would rain, we can work out in the rain. So the room was getting cramped too. So then people were falling off and they said, Lamont, we'll come back if you get a gym. So I started going around trying to search for gyms and the prices was like crazy. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even know how I'm gonna afford it. One day these guys from my church came up to me and they were like, hey, we noticed that you need a bigger spot. My dad has a spot. He owns a warehouse building. We got this boxing gym in there, but they're about to get ready to leave, go over there and check it out, act like you're looking at the gym, but check it out and tell me if that's a good enough size for you. And I was like, okay. So I went over there, checked it out, and I walked in there. And first of all, the boxing gym was amazing. And I'm looking at, man, this is nice, dude. And it's just a warehouse. So then he comes up to me and he goes, would you like to get into that warehouse? And I go, Well, how much is it going to be? Because I don't know if I can afford it. Because I've been around looking, and these places are expensive. And the places that I was looking at smaller, and they're bigger than that. And so he was like, you know what, Lamont, you've been helping out enough people here that me and my father's going to let you in at what you can afford. So that's how
Wow.
playground began. But it didn't begin as the playground. It began as Gab Fitness. That was my personal training, which stood for Get a Better Body Fitness.
Gotcha.
And I had it as Get a Better Body Fitness, the playground.
Gotcha.
You know, fast forward, started going up and down. They worked with me, but still going up and down. You know, businesses, I was going through some hard times, but they kept working with me because they brought me in there to help people. At this moment, when I couldn't afford to keep it going on, God brought another man in my life that helped me, and he helped me change it around to now what is called Playground Training Academy LLC. So I just dropped the Gab Fitness,
Yep.
and just kept the word the playground. And the reason why I kept it is because I was always working out on the playground. So
And that works out great for kids also as a great way to bring them in. What would be maybe one or two examples of people who have been impacted by your gym and your training and so forth?
Well, I have a lot of parents that come in and they give testimonies all the time. They say, "Oh, I want to thank you because my kid was depressed, man, and your coaches and your facility, man, really helped my kid." Because when you think of the word like playground, you think of like I made it look like an urban playground. Like it literally attracts kids. So you have the sports of parkour, calisthenics, and Ninja Warrior, which is all popular shows that's on TV right now. So kids love that.
Mm-hmm.
And so these sports help out with ADD, ADHD, and my coaches have all gotten trained with trauma. So they all got trained with trauma. So now we're able to help kids in overcoming these obstacles because sometimes like may have them jump from this block to this block and they get scared, especially like the 4 and 5-year-olds and as soon as they start getting six, they get scared. Like it's a scary jump because they don't know if they're gonna fall, they don't know what's gonna happen. And we start first we start with the pinky, Then after a while, we're like, okay, bro, we've been doing this for a minute. You got this. The whole class is like, you got this. And so then when the kid finally gets it, everybody, parents, everybody like, yeah. So now
That's
we're
awesome.
giving the reinforcements. And that's what my gym has always been about, is helping these kids overcome these obstacles in this obstacle gym that's going to help them overcome that math problem in school.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Mom, I can't get this math problem. Well, remember when you couldn't get that 8-foot wall? Now you got that. Mm-hmm. So look at that problem as like that wall.
So it applies. So what they learn in the gym ends up applying to their life situations as a whole. And really, that's, I think, your life in so many ways, right? You have overcome, whether it's going to Chicago and feeling like things didn't work out, but you overcame. And now you end up teaching people who very likely may actually be in those kinds of competitions themselves through your training, which is awesome. So one thing I'm really inspired by you is how you set goals and really just achieve amazing things. So what advice would you have for people who want to make an impact and really make a difference in this world?
The first thing you got to do is what I always tell people, is like how you find out what your purpose is like, what would you do if money was no option?
Okay.
So, I mean, I'll tell people, really think about that. If money was no option, what would you get up every day and literally go do as just because you just love to do it? Mm-hmm. And they say, oh, I would do X, Y, and Z. I say, okay, so that's your purpose. Now let's try to figure out, let's go look up and research like how to go about obtaining that. And so that's the first step, because the goal is to do something that you have passion for. Because when you do something that you have passion for, then everything else will fall into place. I'm telling you. So that's the first thing, is to understand what you want to do. Because if you don't even know what you want to do, you're like a ship out there without a rudder. You just all over the place and you're just trying different things. First, let's narrow it down to that. And that's how I narrow down my passion to other people. First of all, get that stuff. Then
Okay.
now research to find out what's that going to take, whether how much money it's going to take, how much schooling it's going to take, whatever that's going to take. And then after you get that down, then now you start setting goals towards that, obtaining that.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have to work a stepping stone job at first to get to that goal, but at least you know where you want to go. You have so then when you get off of work, then now you start going to work on your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get off that stepping stone job, now you start going to work for what you really want. And the reason why I know that's very detrimental to people is because I worked in factories before, and I've asked people like, so what did you really want to be? And they think, oh, I really wanted to be a nurse. And I'm like, so why didn't you go to be a nurse? Oh, I ended up having kids and this and that. I'm like, okay, but like you and your husband could have like figured that out. Like if you guys really had somebody helping you do life, you guys could have figured that out. Maybe your husband takes on a little bit more of the workload, and you talk to him and be like, hey, hubby, like, look, I'm doing this for us. You take on a little bit of workload while I go to school. And then after I finish with school, then now you can go do what it is that you're person. So you got to like, goal setting is like very important, but it's also more important when you got somebody helping you with those goal settings, because God didn't intend us to do life alone. So the first place I would start is first knowing what your purpose and your passion is. That's the first thing. Then after that, researching on that to find out the steps.
Right.
Then after that, like writing out that vision board, and then now start setting the routines and obtaining those goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think even just listening to you, just learning more about what you've done, over the years. I mean, starting the gym, co-founding it, co-leading it is awesome. I know you just obviously became a certified life coach, which, as you shared even before we got on the video, you don't like taking tests, but you found a way legally, no problems, to make sure you pass the test and everything. And then, right now, I think you just mentioned you're starting a marketing company also called Dope. And then lastly, you are starting a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
So if you can maybe just share about your nonprofit organization, what that's about, and also how people can find more about you and support you in that way.
So my nonprofit organization supports, it's called Overcomers Playground. So all my life I've had to, right? So in here, these kids had to overcome these obstacles. So I still wanted to keep my word playground in there. So my Overcomers really supports the gym. So some kids that come in here, we got single moms now who can't afford to put their 3 kids or 2 kids or whatever in the sports. So I want to be able to help them. I don't want to be able to turn them away. We also have foster kids, at-risk kids, kids that face through trauma. I opened this organization up because I wanted to be able to give these kids an opportunity to be able to come and experience at the playground, and these families experience at the playground what these other families are experiencing. And I didn't want cost to be a problem, because originally, to be honest, I wanted to open up my gym at first as a nonprofit organization because I wanted to help people, but break the barriers there. They advised me, she says, first do your for-profit first. Make sure all your programs work. Like, and then, because a grant or donations is just to help support, not to help it keep going, but help support what you're
What's already working.
And so the Overcomers is just a thing that helps support what I'm already doing.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So you had to prove a concept, make sure that the gym is profitable as is without any assistance.
Yeah.
And then now that you proved it, you're just having an additional support, which is your nonprofit, to keep it going.
And
moving forward.
You know who taught me that was Walt Disney.
Okay.
So you got Disneyland, Disney World, but you also have Disneyland Foundation. Now, what is the foundation for? The foundation is to support kids who may be ill or, can't afford it. They have guidelines, of course, that you have to follow to be able to come and experience Disneyland or Disney World, or sometimes they even send them characters out to them to be able to have that experience. And that's what I wanted to do, because I look at myself like the Walt Disney of fitness. So
All right. Well, thank you very much. We'll put some more information in the show notes for those that might be interested. Again, thank you for just your life. I think there are many people who do have challenging lives, but I think you, like the book of Revelations, have decided to be an overcomer and have used your talents and your heart to get definitely your gym, your nonprofit, and now obviously your marketing company going to really help those people in need, which is awesome. We definitely need more people like you. So hopefully this will be an inspiration to people who want to achieve their goals of helping other people to make a difference also. For those that might be interested, I'll also put some information in the chat in reference to some shirts that I have, which are image bearer shirts, if you'd like to purchase some to also support this channel. You want to say one last thing?
Yeah, one last thing is that, support doesn't always mean monetary. Of course, I need monetary to help keep what I'm doing, but support also means prayers. Or if you know anybody in the Fresno area that can use, that their kids can use this, you can, Fresno Clovis area, you can direct them to come to my facility, the playground. And on there, I know that we have $25 donations, $50 donations, but I'm gonna be honest with you, whatever donations, $5, $10, it all helps, because I'm gonna use all of that. And that is a guarantee. I will show my work. I'm gonna use all of that, from the prayers to any donations, to help kids in the community.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for Lamont. I think those of us that appreciated this definitely consider subscribing and check out what great things Lamont is doing in the Fresno, California area. And decide yourself to be an overcomer. Thanks so much.
Thank you.